Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you want to land? Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you wanna dance? Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Well, hello there. Welcome back, everybody. It's a new year. New tutorial show. First tutorial show 2024. I almost totally just smacked the mic. That would have been yeah. That would have been on brand. That would have been on brand. Welcome to Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. It's me, Gario. I'm here to talk about whatever the topic of the day is every Saturday morning. Which is why sometimes we refer to these as Saturday morning Gartunes, because we have multiple songs played throughout this show. But yeah, every Saturday morning there's a new topic. This week's topic, and the first topic of 2024, is Season 7, The Rivals. The Rivals. So we're going to be going over each of the champions that are featured in the event. The 3 that got changes and 2 others that are just along for the ride. We'll go over the quests, the rewards, like what you're, kind of how to work things, yada, 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 yada. What to look at going forward, etc., etc. So that you can get off on the right foot with Season 7. With me for the first time in 2024 is Gabe, everyone. Gabe is here. Gabe, you thought I got a new mod, a new producer? Nope. There's no need. Why change? Why mess with perfection, folks? It's me and Gabe back in 2024. This is it. This is what you get. Hope you like it. I hope you like it. Yeah. So I guess we're just gonna dive right in. Oh, I should use my own code. So codes, folks. Cryptex, copy, paste, link, unlock. Yay. There you go. For anybody who didn't know how to use the code. Oh. Welcome, Tex. Is it Tex? There's a part of me that wants to say text, but there's more after that, so I'm just going to go Tex. Yeah, welcome to all the new players. I know we got new players that came in over the holiday break. Welcome. Streams like this one are meant to educate and inform you. You can ask questions at any time, but please, as Rough Rider 1995 did in chat, put question colon in front of your question, like it shows down there. Because the way this show works, unlike a lot of the other shows here on the CNE Games channel, including my own, usually on Thursdays that got canceled this week for power outage reasons. Usually you just ask a question, get an answer. But with this show, I'm going to talk on a topic for about an hour. And then I'm going to do the Q&A in the second half. And if you put your question in the chat, Gabe will grab it and he will put it in a little document over here, like he already did with Rough Rider's question. And then I will be able to answer it when I get to the second part. So we don't miss anything. All right, let's dive in here. First off, I got way too many champions on the screen. These are not all the season champions. So let's remove some people. And then we're going to spread some people out a bit. So we can see everybody. And boom, here we go. So this is the group of champions for Season 7. So you can see Season 7, the rivals, they're right here. Shaka, Celise, Dahani, Kent, and Virgil. Now that is not all of the champions that are in the Rivals of Waterdeep, in fact. We got a Gosrick over here. Oh god. Am I missing somebody else? No, that's it, right? It's 6. Yeah. So we got a Gosrick as well. There's a Gosrick as well. Gosrick, I'm just going to go ahead and level Gosrick up. Gosrick is not featured in the event, per se, in the season, per se. However, there are some quests that say, well, you just need a certain number of rivals in your formation, and Gosrick works. You can use Gosrick instead of one of the other featured champions. It's all good. It's all good. But for now, we're going to leave Gosrick on the bench because we're going to focus on these other 5. All right. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this a little backwards. I'm going to talk about Kent and Virgil first because Kent and Virgil did not change. This season they changed 3 they did adjustments to 3 champions, and then 2 of the champions, they're just featured here, and they're going to have some stuff you can unlock as rewards, and then that's it. So let's do that because that's kind of the easier part. I'm going to go through this a little quicker, probably. Kent and Virgil, both put into this season because they are inseparable, as it says right here. If one qualifies for an adventure, so does the other. That's the way they work. So they can always go in the same place. I've got the skin here for them. They've got a bunch, but look, this should have just been their default. It's just too great. Tokens of the Departed. Oh, Kent. I should say Kent is a Tiefling Rogue DPS support. So they can be either your DPS or your support. So when used with Dahani, you probably want them to be your support because Dahani over here is going to be is pure DPS effectively. So DPS support, neutral good. And they attack the closest enemy with their rapier. So Kent is kind of one of those champions that is, they are better for established, I shouldn't say it. Well, right out of the box, they're better for an established player than a brand new player. But what it is the way their abilities work is they get better as you complete more content. As you make more progress in the game, Kent becomes a better champion for you. Tokens of the Departed is one of those types of abilities that makes that happen. Kent keeps a soul trinket of the highest level boss defeated in each campaign and the highest level boss defeated across all events where he was present. He increases damage of all champions in his column by a small amount for each soul trinket level. Now, it says where he was present. One thing to note is he does not have to be there the first time you kill a boss. Like you could push through and get your first ever Area 1000 clear and forget that you didn't have Kent in, and it's okay. Back up, throw Kent in, beat Area 1000, you get that token. It's fine. It's fine. And that actually works really well because you can go past that and get a high bud, drop back, beat the level again, riding that bud instead of like, because maybe Kent doesn't help you as much or something. I'm just saying, I'm not saying Kent's bad. I'm just saying maybe you had somebody else in there because you needed a little more power. Still counts. Okay, so the more the as you complete stuff, you need to remember to throw Kent in, and I'm saying this not just as educating you, but as a reminder to myself, because I've been forgetting a lot lately. I've been doing a lot of deep runs and forgetting to get Kent his soul tokens. All right. Next ability is remembering the old days. So each time Kent or the ghostly spirit from his ultimate attacks, he gains a nostalgia stack that lasts until entering a new area. So this is a way to ramp up damage in the area you're on to help you complete the area. Kent increases damage by 50% for each nostalgia stack, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Buffs are applied to the post-stack value, which is it's kind of the balanced way. And nostalgia stacks are capped at 25 stacks. So there is a cap on it. So it's not going to get too, OP, but it is a solid. Anytime you get stacks for something and they apply multiplicatively, this is a good thing. And you want to try to get as many stacks as possible, as long as it's not, breaking your formation to do so. Extra! Kent's force of personality emboldens his companions. Kent increases the damage of all champions by your current achievement bonus. Remember how I said the more you get done, the better Kent becomes? This is part of it. So if I look over here at my achievement bonus, I've done them all, folks. Well, not really. There's a couple there's at least one I didn't do, but it's a legacy achievement, so it doesn't matter anyway. The bonus is what matters and down here. So whatever this bonus on the bottom right of your achievement thing says, that's what Kent's applying. Now, as you can see, even if you do all the things, it's still just shy of an EO6 bonus. But, take it. Take what you can get, right? So right now we're looking at, I'm looking at a 9 EO5 bonus from that ability. And it's an all champions damage bonus too. So it's not like Tokens of the Departed is in his column. So that's kind of your formation placement cue. He wants to be in the column, the same column as the DPS, but he also has buffs that'll just buff everyone. Robust Rivals is... Oh, this is specializations. Hold on, folks. I forgot I had these all pre-leveled, so... I need to fix that. Normally I throw them in and level them up while everybody's watching. Where are we at? Kent. Okay. So Robust Rivals versus Potent Poison. Robust Rivals is going to increase the attack bonus of Tokens of the Departed based on the number of rivals of Waterdeep champions in your formation. So it's really kind of the affiliation spec. If you're running a rivals group, it's a good idea. It's a good idea to run that one because it stacks multiplicatively. We like that around here. Potent Poison is kind of what I consider the all other situation spec, but also potentially something I'm going to use if I'm dealing with a lot of segmented health enemies. And that's because whenever Kent attacks an enemy and doesn't kill it, it's kind of a support spec in that regard. It is affected by a virulent poison. The poison deals 4 seconds worth of bud damage to the enemy each second for 4 seconds. So it's a way to do extra damage if you're not the DPS, if Kent is supporting. Then what you're going to see is you can tick down those segments as long as the damage is high enough. For armored segments, it's going to remove those segments. If it's just hit-based stuff, it's going to remove those too. So just a lot of the rivals now are kind of encourage or are helping you get through segmented health enemies, whether that's armored or hit-based. And Kent is one of those with that. Is that everything? Yeah, so Wails from the Grave is the ultimate. And he used it, didn't he? The weather changes to fog for 30 seconds. Whenever Kent attacks, a ghostly spirit is summoned and attacks an additional enemy if possible, dealing Bud damage. So this is, again, both Kent and the ghostly spirit can attack. That's going to ramp up your stacks when you're on the level, those nostalgia stacks. Also, it turns the area to fog for as long as you're on it. This is important because this works with, with the champion we're going to talk about next. And it'll make sense when we get there. Item-wise, appear to damage all champions items, which I'll be honest is a little odd. I would think one of these should have been a self-damage item, but sure. Usually with a DPS support, we get one that's self-damage and one that's all champs damage. But all right, you get an item for Tokens of Departed, one for Remembering the Old Days, one for extra, and then one to reduce the cooldown on the ultimate attack. Feat-wise, it's all the things you would expect out of most champions. You're going to get feats that support their roles and that support their abilities. They also get one that reduces the cooldown on their base attack. And then their season one increases their damage by a lot. And then also prevents the target that Kent is attacking from healing for 10 seconds. These are really nice. There are times where these are really nice. There are times where you're fighting enemies that get their health back. And this type of feat is perfect for that kind of situation. I will say, though, this is just straight up a damage feat that you want in for Kent, because 400% is greater than any other damage feat you're going to get here in most cases. Well, it is for him, because he doesn't have anything that's buffing the pre-stack bonus, so 400%, big deal. I mean, look, even his top self-damage feat is only 120%. So they went big here. It feels like, because this is kind of not just a self-damage type feature, it's also a support feature. It feels like this should have been all champs damage, but I ain't mad at it. I ain't going to get too mad at it, I should say. When I'm using him for support and then he's buffing himself, I'm going to be a little upset, but... Otherwise, you're going to run, the biggest modifiers, right? Like support stuff, 80% feats. Yeah, go for it. Now, again, along with Kent comes Virgil. They like to go everywhere together. Virgil's the Aasimar sorcerer neutral good. Virgil's a support and speed champion, so he's going to help you obviously do more damage, but also go faster. Base attack is magic missile, fires 3 magic missiles at random targets. Also, obviously, the inseparable thing. They have the same what do they call them now? Passive abilities now as these level 0 abilities. First ability up, though, Storm Sorcerer. Virgil increases the damage of all adjacent champions. So there's your formation placement cue. They want to be adjacent to your DPS. By an amount, and then they decrease their attack speed by an amount. Now, mine is a little higher than it should be at the moment. My attack speed reduction. Let me respec. I believe it starts off at 1 second. Let me get them back here. Yes, there we go. So they'll just shave an entire second off of somebody, just a flat second. Obviously, this is more powerful on champions who already have fast attacks than champions who have slower attacks. Because if your attack speed is already like 3.5 seconds, suddenly you're at 2.5 seconds, and that's a nice chunk of change. Whereas if your attack speed is 7 and it goes to 6, it's like, oh, okay. Well, I'll take it. I'll still take it. All right. Weather control. This is the thing where the fog comes in, right? Virgil gains a weather stack each time the weather changes when advancing to a new area or when it's changed by an ultimate attack or other ability. Virgil tracks each type of weather in a separate stack. Stacks, folks. They're stacks. Each stack is multiplied by 10%, and then all stacks are multiplied together. All right, multiplicative stacks. Love it. The total value increases the damage of all champions, and each stack caps at 500. Now, that doesn't mean you need to cap them at 500. They're just letting you know that they're putting an upper boundary on this. Doesn't mean you got to try to reach it. If we look over here, you can track which kind of stacks you've had under formation buff. So no weather counts. That's clear. Clear weather, you can have stacks for that. Thunderstorm and fog are the ones we've seen so far. There's also like a snow. I think if I bring Gosrick in for a second, Gosrick can make it snow. Right? Boom. Look at the snowflakes. Aren't they great? And that's going to get tracked as its own separate stack. Okay. So obviously, you'd like to get some stacks. You want to get, as many as you can. So running Virgil, if you're using Virgil not just as a speed champion, but as a deep pusher, pairing them with people who are even if it's early on, pairing them with people who are going to change the weather, and having it change the weather as much as possible before you get to the deeper area, and then you want to swap some people out for, just a little more power. This is going to help you build up these bonuses as you're pushing along. Rapid fire. This is the speed effect. Enemies that are defeated within 2 seconds of being on the screen have a 5% chance to drop double quest items or count for double quest progress for each Rivals of Waterdeep champion in the formation, stacking additively. So that's a 5% bonus per champion base. So if I'm running 5 rivals like I am right now, then there's a 25% chance that the things that I'm going to be killing are going to, a base, I say this because there's modifiers, are going to give me extra credit. That's the speed effect, is extra credit for killing things. Now, this has an item, rapid fire at slot 5. It buffs the value. You can get Virgil up to 100% chance to drop double quest items or double quest progress just from item levels. Okay, so I have it capped right here. That's what the purple bar at the top means, is it reached its cap. The shiny version is a lot of item levels, 1985. It's a lot. It's a lot. But it does mean that my Virgil, without anyone else in the formation, is always going to grant me double credit. In a formation like this, though, I'm getting 6 times the quest progress with a tiny little chance for 7. So it can, it's nice. It's nice. It takes a lot of item investment and item levels, but it's nice if you can get there. He's not like an early rush to put a lot of item levels on, but nice. All right, the specializations. We're going to change up the way Virgil works and the way he buffs a bit with each of these specializations. They're different moods. So there's relaxed, anxious, and determined. Relaxed, Virgil, everything turns green. And he further increases the Storm Sorcerer's damage boost by 100%, so doubles it. And increases the attack cooldown reduction by a further 1 second. So you can shave just a flat 2 seconds off of people's base attack. Not going to lie, that's the one I go with most of the time. Anxious increases the number of magic missiles he fires by 1. And there's now a 25% chance he stuns an enemy struck by one of his magic missiles, because he shoots out 4, for 5 seconds. So potentially adding some crowd control to Virgil. There are champions who benefit from crowd control, so it's something to keep in mind. Determined makes everything purple. Anxious makes everything amber or orangish. Determined makes everything violet. Virgil increases weather control's damage boost by 33% for each Rival of Waterdeep champion in the formation, and it stacks multiplicatively. So if you're going for damage in a Rivals formation, you want Determined, which I'm going to go with on this run. Now, there is also a surprise mood, and it's angry. Every now and then, Virgil can get angry. While a champion of the formation is knocked out, which means they've been killed, or they count as dead. Virgil's magic missile and chain lightning attacks turn red, and any enemy he hits with his base attack takes an additional EO 4% damage. Well, an amount of damage. For me, it's EO 4% damage for the next 5 seconds. So damage over time. If an enemy is hit again, the timer's reset, but it doesn't stack. Okay. So extra damage when someone's counts as dead or actually is dead. Or actually is dead. I know that sounds weird to say, but there are champions in the game that even when they're walking around, they count as dead. Astarion, for instance. All right, ultimate. Chain Lightning. Virgil attacks a random enemy with a bolt of lightning, dealing ultimate damage. Every 0.2 seconds, the lightning bolt attacks another random enemy until 20 enemies have been struck or no enemies remain. In addition, the area's weather changes to thunder. Boom, look at that. This is what thunder looks like. It's rain, folks. It's rain. Right, item-wise, pair damage all champions items, storm sorcerer, weather control, rapid fire, so lots of good itemization, and then ultimate cooldown. Again, the same kind of feats. You're going to get the same kind of things that are supporting all of the regular stuff. You're going to get a strength feat, and that's to qualify for them for Zariel, Patron Zariel. They have an immolation feat, which means it adds a 1 second of bud damage every second for 5 seconds to all of their attacks. Again, this is another thing that can help a champion chew through segmented health enemies, even when they're not the DPS. So great. Again, the rivals are really shaping up to be a team that destroys segmented health. And then the season feats, we get, they're basically rivals affiliation feats. So boosting damage for rival if you've got a lot of rivals in the formation. That's what they leaned into. All right. Let's talk about the 3 that got reworked. Let's start at the front. We're going to start with Celise. Celise is a female human paladin of tier, lawful neutral, tanking support. Overwhelm currently of 15, which means she's a little on the low side in terms of tanking functionality. Like this reduces damage or prevents damage going up, when you get a lot of enemies on you. And most of the time you see tanks at 25. She got changed. It used to be able to, one of her stances used to put her at like 30, and now it doesn't. And I don't know. Crossing my fingers, we're going to see something, a little help there. Now her base attack, I'm not going to go into it because it changes all the time. Changes based off her stances, but she hits things, folks. She likes to hit things. She's got some different ways to hit things. None of that changed from previously, but she just keeps on hitting things. Her ultimate, though, is not a normal ultimate. It literally is, it just changes her fighting stance. I like to refer to it as stance revolution, because you're basically just hitting this button over and over again to switch her through stances, if you want. You can always park her in one. We're going to go through that first, just so people understand what's going on here. So this sword that's featured on over her right here, this icon, this means she's in her aggressive stance. Okay, and in that stance, she whacks things and stuns them. Now, if I switch her stance, now this kind of castle feature means she's now in her wall stance. And in her wall stance, she attacks the nearest enemy, but then it's an AoE. It's an AoE, okay? And then I switch again, and we come to the third and final stance now. They've reduced the number of stances, so there's only 3. This is called Last Resort, and it's signified by a lightning bolt. But the lightning bolt can have 2 features. It can either be a normal lightning bolt, or it can be a charged lightning bolt. And the reason for this is the ability that triggers off this lightning bolt is her actual ultimate, like that damagey thing that comes out every so often, and it has its own cooldown timer and its own ability. And this is how you know it's ready to go. And it triggers off swapping stances. So when she's in Last Resort, she attacks the nearest enemy and knocks back in an AoE. Okay, for her base attack. So we're going to switch back. And we'll talk about what's going on here. So, Divine Sense is her kind of her core functionality. She increases the damage of champions in the 2 columns behind her. I forgot. I've got her in her specializations already. All right. In the 2 columns behind her, that's her base default functionality. By an amount. That amount's going to vary a lot. Based off things that we're going to go over. Bonus effects are provided based on Celise's current stance, which can be changed using her ultimate attack. And yeah, they can be. I forgot to have that page up. Hold on. It doesn't necessarily list that here. Maybe it does it over here. Okay, good. So if we come over to formation buffs, you can see what each of these is going to do. So again, she's buffing in 2 columns and then things change. Aggressive. Champions affected by Divine Sense have their base attack cooldowns reduced by a second. So again, we can chunk off large chunks with the rivals of attack speed and make people just attack and attack and attack. And this is one way to do it, by putting Selise in aggressive stance. If she's in her wall stance, it increases the effect of Divine Sense by 400%, which is nice, as long as she's been attacked in the last 10 seconds. So this is her defensive spec. Additionally, champions in the same column as her take 25% less damage from melee and ranged attacks. So this is a much more defensive stance than before because of that bonus. So this is great. I mean, not only does it mean she's going to take less damage, but if you're in a multi-tank front line, everyone else is going to take less damage too. So it can make you much more survivable on your front line. Last Resort. This is going to buff an ability called Vow of Vengeance. We'll talk about it soon. But then the longer you're in that stance, the lower the buff is. So it really means you swap into it, you get a nice big damage spike, and then you're going to swap out. It's really encouraging now getting out of that stance and moving to a different one. Okay. So that's what's going on with the different stances. Now, the rest of her abilities, also, she's really about her stances. The rest of the abilities are going to have usually keywords that have to do with her stances. So you got to pay attention to those, because some are going to work when she's in certain stances and not in others. She is a little complicated, but aren't we all? Look, I'm a little complicated too. So yeah, protect the party. This is her health share. So this increases the health of all other champions by 25% of Selise's max health. However, this gets increased by 5% for each other rival of Waterdeep champion in the formation additively. So if I put the full rivals in, this goes up to 50% health share. That's a beefy number. That's a beefy number of health share. Remember, sharing health with the rest of your party means when you're in those areas where everybody's taking damage, they can survive. They're not squishy anymore. So she can make everyone in her party. Full rivals formation is not a squishy formation at all. Shield of Psychomancy. While in an aggressive stance, Selise will toss her shield in an arc, much like Captain America. Targeted at the furthest enemy every 4th attack. So it's going to swing way out, loop around the field. It deals damage and stuns all enemies it hits for 2 seconds. If the enemy is armored or hits-based, so segmented health, that enemy takes double hits from all attacks until Selise attacks with the Shield of Psychomancy again or changes stances. So, in aggressive stance now, this ability, if it hits an enemy that's hit-based or armored, every attack after that is going to remove twice as many segments as it did before. Yay! Again, this is huge. This is a big deal for helping chew through armored and segmented health enemies. And this is a new feature that was not a thing before. Previously it just gave you more damage. So it was a trade-off. Instead of more damage, we're getting more functionality. Vow of Vengeance. While not in aggressive stance, so while in either Wall or Last Resort, Selise increases the effect of Divine Sense by 10% each time an enemy attacks her. So this works really well with Wall stance. This is a solid synergy with Wall stance. It stacks multiplicatively, that's the good way, up to 100 times. That's a lot. Now it is a small amount, 10%. It starts small. 100 though is a nice bonus, is a nice number. It resets when you change areas. And stacks don't reset when changing stances, so you can still swap through. So yeah, a nice multiplicatively stacking boost on Vow of Vengeance now. Thunderous Smite, this is the actual ultimate. So when switching from Last Resort to aggressive stance, Celeste channels the divine power of Tyr and attacks a random enemy with her sword, dealing Bud-based AoE damage and Bud-based chain lightning damage from the enemy struck to 5 nearby enemies. But it only triggers once every 180 seconds. Okay, so it's not going to be up that often. There's ways to modify that, but just understand it's not really going to be up that often. All right, let's look at specialization. She actually has 2 different sets of specializations, and they're interesting because you're going to pick one from this first set of 3, and then the 2 that you didn't pick are going to return along with a new one, and then you can pick one from that set of 3. So even if there's 2 here that you like, technically you could end up with both of them, right? You just, yeah. It's just going to be staggered. So Relentless Avenger, while in aggressive stance, armored or hits-based enemies affected by Shield of Psychomancy now take triple hits from all attacks. I like it a lot. That's my new favorite thing. That's my new favorite thing. Look, doubling is great. I like doubling. We have other champions that give you double credit too, and when you combine those, it's not additive. Tripling. Yes, please. It's a very specific thing, right? I have to know that I'm going in to deal with hits-based or armored stuff. If I do, Relentless Avenger, I'm going to destroy things, and I'm going to love it. I'm going to cackle the entire time. So that's that spec. Okay, Reflective Shield, when in wall stance, which again is now the defensive stance, Celeste can deflect projectiles back at the enemies that shot or cast them because magic attacks are counted as ranged like projectiles for this. And they deal 6 seconds of Bud-based damage to whoever threw them at her. So when you're dealing with a situation where you're being attacked by a ranged or magic-based attack, like a boss or something, you can just throw her in wall stance and she's going to bounce that stuff back. Now, she can only do it a certain number of times. It doesn't explain it here. As she attacks, she builds up deflection stacks, and she can only deflect to as many stacks as she has, and then she'll stop. It's not outrageously broken, but it is real nice. It is real nice against bosses, not against hordes of ranged enemies, but against bosses, it can be nice. Yeah. Mithril Skin. So while in last resort stance, this is that final one that now you're. This one doesn't really make sense anymore. I'm going to be honest. Celeste takes reduced damage the further her health falls below 80%. This used to work real well because she used to get that overwhelm thing. Now, nice little bonus while you toggle through, but you're not going to want to sit. You're not going to want to sit in last resort anymore. So this one kind of not as great. I'm going to go over Relentless Avenger here. All right, and then the final one that shows up is Tyr's Eyes. So this increases the range of Divine Sense to affect 3 columns behind Celeste rather than just 2. I go with this one, usually, because more often than not, it depends on how I'm building the formation. If I don't need it to go, if my DPS is within 2 columns of Celeste, I won't go this one. But if it's not, if I need it 3, I'll go here. So yeah. So it's a nice little functionality thing. You can increase the range. And there are multiple reasons why you might want to do that. Rivalry's Insight is our next ability here. Right? Yeah, we talked about Vow of Vengeance. Yeah, okay. Divine Sense is increased by 100% for each rival of Waterdeep affiliated champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So again, a nice multiplicatively stacking thing. It's the affiliation bonus. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Item-wise, pair damage all champions items. A health item. You better see that on a tank. Divine Sense, great. Rivalry's Insight. That's the affiliation thing. That's a little niche, but Sure. And then Vow of Vengeance, which again got real nice and multiplicatively stacking. And if we come over here and, oh, I'm not in the right stance. Hold on. Switch stance. Why didn't it switch stance? I hit the button. Bow. So you can see it will track the number of times you're attacking or get attacked. If I were to pull everybody out, we would watch it. You could watch it stack up, just so you know. And remember, it keeps those stacks even if you switch stances. And then you can see here with almost a full. Well, here, let's throw Gazerkin. Rivalry's Insight. 8 EO4 bonus with my itemization for a full Rivals formation. If you're looking for that. Feats. She's got them. Damage on champion's health. This thing is you would want for a tank. But then we can increase her stun duration on her base on her aggressive base attack by an additional 2 seconds. That's real niche, but again, there are champions who like that, who give bonuses while people are under crowd control effects. So this could be useful, and I really like and wish we had more of feats that are just very specific use case scenarios. You know, you don't have to have them, but you know, it's nice when you need them. They really show up. They really show up. She got a wisdom feat. That wisdom is going to help with something. It could be triggering someone else's ability. It could be variance. It's not one of the patrons. She has a wealth of overwhelm feats, which is good because it starts so low. She does have a 20 available, which makes her, competitive. But she's just not right out of the bank. The season feats down here, as you can see, there's a lot going on. Champion of Tyr increases the damage of Thunderous Smite. That's her ultimate by 100%, so it doubles the damage. But it also prevents roaming familiars from automatically activating her ultimate button. In other words, it prevents you from accidentally swapping her stances when you just want her in one stance the whole time. This has been a long-awaited, long-asked-for feat. Functionality. They've decided to do it through a feat. And we're probably going to start seeing feats like this that turn off the ultimate button on toggleable champions, because she's not the only one that toggles. There are a few. And I think people are really going to look forward to that. I think they've already gotten feedback from a lot of us that this should have been on the standard path, like the free path. It's currently in the paid path. They're gonna look into maybe swapping those, but for the moment, it's part of the season pass. Now the taunt feat increases her damage by 400% because they're still doing that. At some point they got to change those because she's a tank. We don't care what her damage is, but it also makes her attacks have a 50% chance to taunt enemies. Now this is another situational feat. I like these. I like these taunt feats. I don't necessarily use them a lot, but I like that they're available because sometimes you run an adventure and it's a multi-tank frontline, but you don't have multiple tanks available. And if you have one with a taunt, that means you can run some squishy champions up there and keep them from getting run over. It basically helps turn it into a single tank formation. That's what this is for. So I like having those available. All right, so that's Celise. I feel like overall, her the changes in the season, her divine sense got way bigger. Her buffing is much better. She has expanded functionality, but it takes a little bit longer to get some of the power that she used to get right away. That's how the changes worked overall. In case you're wondering. Let's talk about Shaka. I can't every time. Shaka. You got to give it a minute. Male Tiefling Warlock, neutral good, healing and support. Now, Shaka does not heal anyone. Let's be honest. Instead, what Shaka does is provide you temp HP shields. In the past, they were okay. They could get you through in a pinch, but they weren't anything to write home about. They got better. This season they got better, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, just know that it's not healing, it's shielding. Base attack is Eldritch Blast. Worst base attack in the game. I'm sorry, Shaka. If you know, you know. Celestial Puzzle. This is the core of Shaka's kit. And it is RNG. There's no getting around it. It is RNG, and it makes Shaka not someone you automate in a formation, because their situation changes every run. Every time you start a new run, their puzzle is going to be different, and they're a manual play champion. They just are. And they've gotten even more so this season. So let's talk about a Celestial Puzzle. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not worth figuring the puzzle out. If you're building a formation, manually doing an adventure, building a formation, and solving the puzzle, can pay off big. But in just a random automated thing you're just running like over and over or something, you can't just set a formation and forget it. You've got to play the puzzle with Shaka. So, Shaka attempts to solve a celestial puzzle with the potential for great rewards. 4 random slots in the formation are assigned a random tag. Each champion in those slots that matches the slot's tag for each champion. I was like, oh, it doesn't mean. Shaka increases the damage of all champions by an amount, and it stacks multiplicatively. This is the good way. And it can be real good. So, because it's effectively pre-stacking. A 5th slot is chosen, but remains locked with an unknown tag until a specialization is chosen. It's because 3 of Shaka's 4 specializations can add a different tag to the formation in that locked slot, so you'll know where it's going. You just don't know what it is yet. Now, Shaka also has feats that can add extra stuff as well. In fact, I have them in. But one of the best changes that came to Shaka is, as you can see right now. I mean, I did choose a specialization. Hold on. I was about to say I haven't chosen a specialization, but there's still 5 things. Gaarawarr, come on. There, reset the specializations. Okay. There's the lock. There's the lock with the question mark. But as you'll see, I have 5 tags instead of 4. And in fact, if I just throw Shaka in, you can see them all now. It used to be that you had to put somebody in the slot to be able to see what the tag was. Not anymore. Best thing they ever did for Shaka. Best thing they ever did for Shaka. So you can see what the tags are before, and you can then place your champions accordingly. Like an accordion? No, that's not. Accordingly. It's Saturday, folks. All right, let me put everybody back in. There we go. All right, so I can see where everything's going, and I can match stuff up. So the more I match, the more of a damage bonus he's going to get. Now, keep in mind, you want to build a formation that's a good formation with solid champions and stuff. And not necessarily just change your champion because they're going to match one of these tags. But if you can change a champion to another champion with roughly the same amount of power and match a tag, do it. That's what's going on here, right? That's what we want to do here. So as you can see, lots of potential tags, lots of stuff. Right now we're matching a male non-binary. We're matching an Aarakocra. I should be matching 2 tags now, right? Yeah, 2 tags. And it was EO4 per, but it's multiplying against itself, so we get a... Oh, is it doing it all? Oh, it is doing it post. Then this is reading wrong. Never mind. Anyway, Celestial Puzzle, good stuff. Good stuff. And again, you can potentially add more tags for more multiplicative goodness. This number can get very high. I've seen pictures of it post rework in the E40s. But again, that's getting everything right. And that's not always going to happen because RNG. Then when we talk about tags too, I want to point out you're seeing things like support, dwarf, the gender identity, right? This is the kind of stuff that can be a tag. It's this stuff at the top up here. Okay. So you're going to see gender, you're going to see race, you could potentially see class, you could see role. We might see alignment. Who knows? Okay. So just keep in mind, you can see these are the things that they're talking about up here with tags. We're not going to see age. You're not going to see overwhelm. I don't think we're going to see affiliation. All right, Celestial Resistance. This is his temp HP shield. Shaka adds a temp HP shield to the entire party when changing areas and refreshes it every 10 seconds. That's new, and that's fantastic. That's a refresh. That's a full party refresh more often than Calliope, who is your first temp HP shielder in the game. And without the requirement of putting her within a certain number of places. It is a lower value shield, but much more functional now. The amount of hit points is increased by 25% for each celestial puzzle slot that is filled properly. This one stacks additively. So again, solving the puzzle gives you benefits. It gives you more damage, gives you more shields. Feast or famine? Famine. Oh, are we not choosing one? It's famine now, folks. I hate to break it to you. Shocking increases the base effect of a celestial puzzle by 50% for each properly filled puzzle slot he's adjacent to, stacking multiplicatively. And while multiplicatively is a good way, the bonus from this, it got nerfed through the floor. I don't know why. It wasn't the design intent to nerf it through the floor, but it happened. And that's what we're going to have to live with unless they decide to change it. So, this used to have some decent numbers. If there were times when I had for like 4 adjacencies to Shaka and it was nice. A single adjacency used to get me, like over 9,000% bonus. Now it's a little under 400%. So that's kind of how far it got nerfed. So don't really worry about Feast or Famine right now, folks. If you get it, great, but it's not a huge difference. Specializations. He actually has 2 different sets. The first one affects his ultimate. This is how you get his ultimate. It's either they get a blinding wall of light or a disintegrating wall of light. In this house, we like them both. I wish I could do both. Can I get both? We don't have a descriptor here, but let me give you the rough descriptions, because you don't get a description until you unlock it. Blinding wall of light shoves everyone back, and puts a blinding wall of light in front of the formation. When it shoves everybody back, it stuns them. They get a stun. They also get anybody, I think, or maybe it's when they walk through the light now. They get a stun. It's new. That's why I can't remember exactly which one it is. But what also happens is they get marked as having passed through the light. And if they pass through the light, they now miss a bunch of their attacks. So it is a fantastic defensive feature to keep your formation alive. Disintegrating wall of light, it shows up right over here where the enemies spawn in. That's important to note because that means it will never hit a stationary enemy. Neither of these will. But these enemies spawning in would walk through it immediately. And what the disintegrating wall of light does is it has a chance to just disintegrate the enemy. And yes, bosses count. If a boss walks through it and fails their roll, they're just gone. It's fantastic. Love it. We're going to throw that one up. Not literally, but here. Now, so it's a 1 per, if they take, and the way it decides, if they take 1% of their max health and damage, it's a 50% chance to be disintegrated and die immediately. So good. If you don't get destroyed immediately, they get debuffed and they take 100%, they take double damage for 30 seconds. But here's what it looks like. This works on, oh look, see, these are hit-based enemies, and they're just getting disintegrated immediately, except for that one. That one missed. That one saved his roll. So we had 2 make their rolls. 3 made their rolls out of a bunch of them, though. It's love. I love it. It's lovely. It's lovely and delicious. Thank you, Shaka. Now the other specialization choice, again, there's these first 3 of those things I was telling you before. It's a different tag for the formation. I want to be clear. Just because this says male non-binary, this says speed, and this says dragonborn, doesn't mean that's what it always is. This is RNG layer 2.0. The part in blue, the tag, is different every run, potentially. So you can't just assume it's going to be males and non-binaries, speed, or dragonborn. I believe it's gender, role, and class, or excuse me, race. So gender, role, and race. That's what I've seen so far. So just know it's not even fixed. It's still more randomness. Okay. What is fixed is brain break, which means giving your brain a break instead of breaking it. To be clear, the locked celestial puzzle slot remains locked, and it disappears. And instead, celestial resistance is doubled. So double shields. Okay. So you can add another tag. And what you want to do is you'll want to look. You'll know where it is, right? I know it's right up there. And I'll want to look at what's in my formation and go, is it going to help me? If it's not going to help me, I'm just going to go for double shields, right? If it's going to help me, and in this case it would, potentially. This one is just, hey, I get another one. This one is I get another one and Celestial Puzzle gets buffed by 50%. This one is I get another one and it's buffed by 100%. So it gets harder, right? So if I can do it, I want to pick the best one that's going to help me and choose it. In this case, it would be pen and paper, because I have Virgil, who's a speed champion and who could slot in there. That's the only reason. If I couldn't have matched with somebody, I would have gone brain break. All right. I think that's everything. Yeah. Look, he buffs, he shields, you solve a puzzle. They have the new Riddling Rivals ability. This is the affiliation feature. So it's 100% Celestial Puzzle boost per rival, stacking multiplicatively. Again, great. If they are a much better formation now together. Like, look, I've got 3 tags and I'm at E20. So again, when you can match the puzzle, you can get rewarded. I haven't even tried to fill in the rest of the formation. Celestial Resistance, I'm now up to 9 EO4 of a temp HP shield, which isn't amazing, but it's better than nothing. Again, way better than it used to be. Feast or Famine, not really doing anything for me. And then the bonuses to the rivals, right? All right, item-wise, pair damage all champions. We got Celestial Puzzle, we got Celestial Resistance, the exact things you want. Then they give you itemization for Feast or Famine, which again, right now doesn't really mean much. And then ultimate cooldown reduction. Feat-wise, here is the one I was talking about before, Puzzle Master. So you have a feat to add another puzzle slot, which, look, it's multiplicatively stacking. You want it. You can put it in, and if you can't match it, you can take it out. Swap it for something else. Again, manual play champion. Celestial Puzzle, Celestial Resistance feats, Feast or Famine, Riddling Rivals, Wisdom feat. This one takes you up to 14. I believe that's what you need to match for Narak. For Gaarawarr Focus. It's 14. And then it's Riddling Rivals for the season feats. So, yeah, again, going all in on using them with other members of the Rivals of Waterdeep. And again, overall, I think Shaka just kind of got better. I think Feast or Famine is the one kind of what? But overall, way better buffer, way better shielder. Shaka's the big winner of this season. Shaka's the big winner of this season. Again, though, manual play champion. So if you're still building all your formations every time and you're not just using presets, Shaka's gonna be great. Don't worry about the whole non-idle thing. But there's a lot of us that just have some preset pushing formations, and Shaka's just hit or miss in those. So All right, final champion we're going to talk about. The murder burb herself, who now actually can murder things. That's right, folks. Dahani can now murder things. Can I get... Oh, there's a weird lag bug going on that arrived in the recent patch. I don't know what it is. Dahani, female Aarakocra, Kinsei Monk. Kinda good. DPS and gold find. And now, actually, yeah, there's some gold there. Before, it could just be, no gold. Now, yeah, no, there's always a little bit of gold. Base attack, Fists of Fury. So attacks the nearest enemy and one other random enemy. So 2 enemies each time. Main ability is Paint Them Red. Dahani is a painter. I know she's a monk, but she's a painter. It's our painter champion. When Dahani attacks, she paints the enemy red, and no, not just with their own blood, actual paint. An enemy can be painted up to she does both, but enemy can be painted up to 3 times. Dahani's damage is increased by 33% for each stroke of paint she has applied to a normal enemy in the current area. So this isn't stat. This is on an area, and 1,000% for each stroke of paint she's applied to a boss enemy in the current area. These stack multiplicatively. Okay, this is all good. This is a good way. Normal enemy strokes cap at 100. So 100 times she paints things. And boss strokes, it's not boss area strokes. Boss strokes, they got to remove that word still. Cap at 6. So you're going to get 100 of the 33% multiplicative stacks, and a max of 6 of the 1,000% multiplicative stacks. These are not one buff. These are 2 separate buffs, 2 separate multipliers. I point this out because it's important to know that you're going to get one set of buffs for attacking regular enemies and a whole other set for attacking bosses, which means they multiply together, right? So just understand that's how it works. It's 2 different ones, but it makes everything nicer. This number gets pretty big. Let's go over here and look. Here's 100 stacks. I'm at E17. E17 isn't a number Dahani ever really knew. I don't think she could count that high before. I'm sorry, Dahani, but you were not great before. Dahani counts up to E17 now. That's just this current one that I've got with my current itemization. There are post-stack multipliers, so they don't get outrageously broken. But if you'll notice, there's another stacks multiplicatively down here. That's for the boss level. That one gets up to about E12, if I remember correctly. Hold on, I got it written down over here. Yes. So add another E12 multiplier. E17 multiplier, E12 multiplier. Yay. Yay. So Dahani, yay. Paint Them Red is now yay. It wasn't before. Dahani could not out damage Kent support in the same formation before. Now she can. Way of the Brush got simplified and currently nerfed. I did talk to the person who designed this. It was not their intention, so that it may change. Justin also said that, yeah, they're going to look at it and potentially change the multiplier back. So this is her permanent stacking ability. So she tracks the total number of enemies she's painted across all time. So, all adventures. Her damage gets increased currently by 0.01% for each enemy she's ever painted, and it stacks additively. Now this is down from 0.03%. So she took a 66% nerf to the brush, or bush, as they renamed it yesterday on Dev Insights. Way of the Bush. Because it's now hiding. Her damage is now hiding. Now this, if you're a brand new Dahani player, she got better across the board. I want to be very clear. This is a very subjective. Dahani is a very subjective experience. If you're a newer Dahani player with low brush stacks, Dahani got way better. If you had invested a lot into Dahani's brush stacks, if you had, before there were 10 layers and you could keep going, I got 10 layers. I have over 7 million stacks, but there are people out there who have like 30 million stacks on Dahani. If you are someone who had serious investment, well over layer 10 in the prior system, Dahani got nerfed. And it's because of this multiplier and way the brush stacks values drop through the floor. Again, they are aware of this on two different fronts. Again, was not the design intention, but we have to live with it until we see it changed back. So new players, again, the power for Dahani, you're going to get a ton of it out of Paint Them Red. Way of the Brush isn't something to invest your time into currently. All the layers went away. It's just about the stack numbers now. So don't really worry about Way of the Brush right now. Don't worry about building like a brush farm or anything like that. Just enjoy painting things red, because it's very enjoyable now. It is. Now, we're going to see Splash of Yellow, Stroke of Green, and Blotch of Blue. These used to be specializations on Dahani, and now they're just functional abilities. Hell yeah. That was one of the worst parts of Dahani, was having to choose between these three, because there was really only ever one choice. One good choice. There were people made some bad choices. It was only ever one good choice, and now you get all three. This is wonderful. So Splash of Yellow, enemies Dahani paints have a 33% chance to gain a splash of yellow. Enemies painted in this way drop 200% more gold when they're killed. This is the gold find. It's triple gold find if they're painted yellow. Stroke of Green, enemies Dahani paints have a 33% chance to gain a stroke of green. Enemies painted in this way cause Dahani's attacks against them to damage nearby enemies as well at 50% damage. So this turns them into a traitor, like a crawl traitor. When they're hit, they pulse out AoE damage. This was the go-to spec before, honestly, because single target Dahani was not great. This effect doesn't change, so if a splash hits another splasher, doesn't change, but it does apply paint to the enemies it damages. So it can apply strokes of red, potentially strokes of yellow, potentially strokes of green, and potentially strokes of blue. It can potentially splash paint to everyone around them, which is fantastic. Okay. Blotch of Blue. Enemies Dahani paints have a 33% chance to gain a blotch of blue. Enemies painted in this way are stunned for 2 seconds when Dahani attacks them. Now remember, not when they're painted. Once they have the paint and then she hits them, they can be stunned for 2 seconds and the paint stays forever. And boss enemies painted in this way take 800% more damage from all attacks. These are way better now. I love them so much. Flurry of Blushes, Flurry of Blushes, and Way of the Bush. Flurry of Brushes didn't change. It did change. The weather clears, so she works better with Gaarawarr. She can clear the weather when it's something else. And she pulls a quiver of sharpened paintbrushes from her robes and flings them out at 5 random enemies. They deal damage and apply Dahani's paints to all enemies they hit. So this is a great way to build up paint stacks. Yeah. And also synergize with Gaarawarr. You want to hit this when there's a weather effect so that it turns it like this, right? So like I hit Chain Lightning and it rains. Then I hit Way of the Flurry of Brushes and it clears. Gaarawarr's just giggling. Gaarawarr's on the bench and he's giggling. He loves it. The new specialization choices are Look, you can't hit it all. Get it all great, I guess. You're either going to double your gold find, which if you're a newer player and you can't soft cap your champions, And if you don't know what that means, then this is for you. You're just going to choose yellow. Just get more gold. The green is just double damage to the AoE, which I don't think is super important, if I'm being honest. And the blue is, hey, double damage to the bosses. You're gonna do one of these. I almost would rather have the double damage to the bosses because I can also paint the bosses green. So I lean towards blue now. But I don't think any of them are. I really don't care what you choose, and I don't know that it matters a whole lot. Unless you're a new player who can't softcast your champions, and then you go yellow every time. Friendly Rivalry is the affiliation boost, and it's 200% to her own damage for each rival in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. Yes, please. Let's go look at that. If I can get the game to stop lagging. Oh my god. Feel like I'm lurking rider right now. Friendly Rivalry is currently in an E6 self-damage bonus. Let's throw Gaarawarr in. Let's throw Gaarawarr in and see what that actually gets up to. Yeah, 388 EO6, so not much higher. All right. But I'm sitting, E18 bonus on Paint Them Red now. Yay. So yeah. Those are the changes. I think overall, Nahani became, again, it's a very subjective experience. If you are a newer player, you never had Dahani before, you don't have a lot of Way of the Brush stacks, Dahani got way better. If you had super high investment into Way of the Brush, into stacking up her damage bonus, she got way worse. Again, for that second group, I feel you. It feels weird to me, and I didn't even have a huge investment. But just know that, they're aware and it wasn't their intention. So, crossing my fingers that we see that changed. All right, I'm going to take a break. We got about a dozen questions lined up. So when I come back from this break, we're going to dive into those. Hopefully my voice lasts throughout this whole stream. The song on the break. One of the rare Bardic inspirations songs that we made that's like a slower song. But it's so good. This is Celise's song. This is Soaking Away Regret.
Time away from phone. Did some good things and the battles were no joke. Think I settled in for the night with a book and a nice long soul. Gonna doff my armor and hang up my clothes. Take some time to run a whetstone down my blade. Wash the stains from my plate and think of the choices I made. Breaks a tear that I've come to the end of this day. Need some downtime to soothe the nerves I've been free. Set that glass of whiskey down upon my sheet. Take a moment to recover and be healed. Tomorrow I'll be right up there fighting on the field. But tonight I'll raise my glass and drink a tea. Please forgive me for the things I do. You won't see me kneeling down to you. I'll take some time when my quest is through. The body cloud I sadly must prove. Set that glass of whiskey down upon my take a moment to come around me here. Tomorrow I'll be right back out there fighting on the field. But tonight I'll raise my glass. Tonight I'll raise my glass. Yeah, tonight I'll raise my glass and drink tea.
Speaking of regret, I regret that I forgot to go over the rest of the stuff for the season, and I just covered the champions. Look, it's my first tutorial show back after a couple weeks off. You gotta give me a break. Just a little bit of a break. All right. So let's talk about the season, folks, because that's what we're here for. Oh, boy. If you have never been a part of Idle Champions seasons before, they're basically like bonus reward time. You earn experience. That's why I have levels. You earn experience by doing quests of a variety of types, and we'll talk about those. And those quests, again, they give you experience. They also give you favor. As you level up, you get rewarded. Seasons last about 56 days. That's 8 weeks. And they feature 5 champions, which we already went over. Now, if you need more information about a season, because there are times when they'll send you out on a quest to go find a very specific enemy. This is a button. See how it highlights when I go over it? This is a button. And if you click it, it will give you the ability to open up a different window, like a browser tab, with a blog that's going to tell you some of the ways you can find that enemy, and also other information about the season. So whenever we get new seasonal quests, which is every Wednesday, the first thing you should do is if it's like, go kill so-and-so. Well, if you don't know where that is, click this button and go see where it tells you there are some. Okay. Quests. Let's look at quests. There are seasonal quests, there are milestone quests, and then there are bonus quests. The bonus quests, hit or miss. They're not going to be related to the season at all. They're going to be other things like there's a time gate weekend. There's a natural time gate weekend this weekend, folks. Make sure you get your free champion or some extra gear for one you already have. So they'll give you some bonus quests that are related to time gates, right? But otherwise, seasonal quests are going to be about the season. So the first set 1, there's 9 each week that you're going to get each week. Complete a bunch of areas with Donnie or Kent as your bud setting champion. Okay, so it just means you're building out a formation with one of these as your DPS. Hit 30 enemies with a single toss of Salisa's Shield of Psychomancy. Okay, this one's pretty easy. It's just, hey, as we talked about, it happens every 4th attack. It just means there's got to be a lot of enemies on the screen. So you're going to have to push deep and get some enemies built up. Get to the point where there's a lot of enemies, or just artificially create a lot of enemies on the screen for Celise, and then she throws her shield through them. Done. Paint a bunch of enemies with Dahani's attacks. Just use Dahani. Defeat 25,000 enemies with at least 4 rivals in your formation. Again, you can use 4 of the 5 that are in the event or in the season, or you could bring in Gosrick. Or you could bring in Strongheart and spec them into an affiliation match. Shenanigans. Complete a new adventure variant or patron variant. This has nothing to do with the season, but they put it in here anyway. Basically, you just got to go find something that they recently added to the game and go do it. Or that you haven't done, right? Some of us have done a lot of this stuff, so some people have to wait until they add new content. Open 10 chests that contain equipment for rivals. Hey, this doesn't have to be the season-specific ones. You know what chests that you get a lot of that contain gear for rivals? Electrums. Like the one you got for watching this stream. You put the code in, right? That's a chest that could potentially contain equipment for a rival of Waterdeep. Defeat an undead boss. That's where you're going to go click that blog link. And you can look it up. There's lots of places in the game for those. Lots. This place I'm in right now, the Alien Underdark, it's in the Underdark portion of Sword Coast, which is admittedly fairly advanced in the Sword Coast campaign. It works for the undead boss, but it's great for another quest we're going to talk about soon. That's why I'm in it. Defeat 50,000 enemies. You can do that anywhere. Complete 1,000 areas in any adventure with a patron active. Sure. You know how I got this one done? Background parties. I don't do patron stuff in my patrons. I got small mini parties in my background. Parties that are set to patrons, and they're doing patron chores. They did that one for me. I didn't have to do anything. It's great. Loved it. Good job, everybody. Milestone quests are different from the seasonals, though. There's 10 milestone quests, and each quest has 10 tiers. And each tier is just they do more of the same thing. And it goes up, right? So here, as we can see, I've got one done so far. Yay me. Break a bunch of segmented health, and that could be either armor-based or hit-based. The Alien Underdark, that's why I was here. If you have not done this yet, I highly recommend this place. It's got tons of segmented health enemies. They're all over the place in this adventure. There's also a couple undead bosses. Yay. Right? So I was able to do all of that. And now that I'm done with the segmented health, I'll go somewhere else. Because honestly, the segmented health can slow you down. But again, this team is built to chew through segmented health now. Rivals of Waterdeep are. So, yeah, it wasn't that bad. It's Saturday, and I'm done already with 10 tiers. And I wasn't even trying to speed potion it or anything. So, in fact, most of the time it was offline. Now the rest of these, again, there's some formation building stuff. Dahani and Kent as your bud setting champion. You needed to do that for a seasonal quest anyway. Paint a bunch of enemies with Dahanis. Wow, we were doing that already. Level up Rivals of Waterdeep champions. Hey, you're going to you want to do that in this season anyway. You want to basically use season champions. If you're a new player, you want to unlock and obtain the season champions because they're going to help you complete these quests. And you're going to want to use them in all of your stuff that you're trying to do. Because then you don't have to grind this stuff out. You can just go do adventures and complete adventures with them in your party, and this stuff gets done. Okay. Trigger Virgil's Rapid Fire. That's his speed effect. So it just means, again, use Virgil. Complete a bunch of areas in free plays. Hey, guess what? My background parties were doing that with patrons, right? And I was doing it here. So, quadruple dipping. Defeat a bunch of enemies with at least 5 rivals in your formation. So they want at least 5 now. 5 out of the 6. Okay. Use the ultimate ability of Rivals Champions. Yeah, okay. If you don't have enough familiars to put one on each ultimate, just throw a roamer out, folks. What's a roamer? I've got a bunch down here. But you can just throw someone on this roaming bar. And use one familiar, and he'll just hit every 30 seconds. It's going to hit something that's not on cooldown. That works, right? What's this? Oh, this is wow. I actually completed some of this. I'm shocked. We're going to come back to that one. Down here, complete a bunch of areas in an adventure with a patron active. Again, I'm on tier 10 of this. Done none of it actively. I did 10 tiers of that patron thing just with those background parties and patron stuff. I highly recommend that. I really do. You don't need a lot of familiars. You can see, I have minimal parties here that are matching things. I just make sure that I match whatever the requirement is and have a tank. You got to have a tank and then match what. So if it's this isn't what this was, but if it said Cthulhu set bud. Okay. Throw Cthulhu in. I'm going to throw a tank in. This is 2 familiars plus 1 familiar on the field. That's all I really need. This is a 3 familiar party. It could be at least. I have more in there, but this is, there's ways to do this that are super easy, right? This final thing. Complete a bunch of areas with at least 4 stacks of Shaka's a celestial puzzle ability. we talked about how this is a pure RNG ability. And matching the puzzle is a manual play thing. 10 tiers of manual play? I mean, I'm not going to do it. I don't even know how I got 9, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I don't know. I think they kind of, this one, I wouldn't, if you want to do this one, do it. If you don't, I'm with you. If you don't, I'm with you. The other bonus quests that came through this week were completing higher and higher levels in different adventuring parties, which, there's different stuff. Now, the rewards for this are what really matter, right? This is why are we doing this stuff? There's 2 tracks of rewards. The top track is for everyone. The bottom track is if you buy the season pass. Bottom track has the really good stuff, folks. I'm not going to lie to you about that. Why would I lie? It's $10 US for a season pass. It's the best $10. It's the most efficient way to spend $10 on this game if you plan on doing the quests. As you can see, I'm already 28 levels in. I've already collected a lot. There's 2 sets of time gate pieces this time around, which is 2 of the rivals if you don't have them. There's a bunch of gear for stuff, item levels. There's a click damage skin, feats. Look at this. And then if you get a bunch at once, you can just hit the claim all button and it claims them all. I like that feature personally. But on the paid track, you get fancy stuff like skins for the champions. We have these Water Davian or Water Davian, however they want to say it. I say Water Davian. Skins, there's one for each of the rivals. There's some high-end feats that are available that you could get that way. Here's another skin. There's things like Modron chests. There's a potion of polish. There's a familiar. Okay, there's lots of things that you might normally spend money on, and a lot. Usually a skin could be $5 to $10 on its own, and there's going to be 5 skins and a familiar and a bunch of Modron chests. They're in here somewhere, I swear. There they are. Modron chests. There's the scales of Tiamat. There's tanking pigments this time around. Right, so there's lots of stuff in the paid track, and once you finish all 60 levels, which is honestly pretty straightforward. Again, I'm already at 28, and the season's been out 2 days, 3 days, 3 days. There's bonus rewards, and so each time you level up after you've gone past level 60, each time you level up, you get a token, and you redeem the token for a random bonus that's from this list of stuff. And if you buy the season pass, you get 2 tokens every level. You also get buffs as you go along. Some more and more bonuses to help you push during the season, which is nice. There's also buffs in the reward tracks that you can pick up. And those, usually some of those are a little more specific. But this is going to make your overall progress better, is getting through all of this stuff. All right. That's everything. I'm now going to hit up the questions. We got a half an hour for questions, folks. It's lightning mode. Rough Rider 1995. Who in Waterdeep do they rival? No. You're misreading it. They are the rivals of Waterdeep. They rival the whole city. It's the city itself. I don't know. That's my joking answer. You got a joking question, I'm going to give you a joking answer. The Black Death, which spec to use for Dahani? Right now, I don't. Blue. A little extra damage on a boss. Because honestly, bosses are usually the armored ones that are hard to get through. So give me a little extra damage on a boss. And I don't mind that it's not on an AoE. It's fine. Tex, I got Minsk, Freely, and Gosrick in 4 hours in slot 7. I'll be able to do split the party 2 once I get Gosrick. Any champion in slot 7 I should consider after that? Oh, you're picking up Gosrick. Okay. This is somewhat season related. I read this without. I think I get any champion in slot 7 I should consider after. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gosrick. Okay, Gosrick slot. Caddy Bree is my favorite in that slot. Reruns. How do you get Gosrick's locked epic feat? Moving shop. Okay. Do I have it already? I don't. So moving shot increases the effect of Gosrick's traveling merchant ability by 80%. If it doesn't have a thing here, what it means is it arrived in an emergence event in the past. Emergence events are little like mini events, and they can introduce feats and to the game. That means it will show up for gems in the future, but it's like a 3 month to 6 month wait time on when it shows up. So they're letting you know it was around, and it will be available in the future. It'll be a 50k gem feat when it comes out. Shadowlandman, how many of these bonuses count Strongheart as a Rivals member when he qualifies? Anything that says that it's based off the number of Rivals. If Strongheart is in, and Strongheart, I've got him somewhere else at the moment, and he is spec'd to to join an affiliation, then he will count. Period. Because he will have that affiliation. Valesian, when looking at the Rivals, it says some feats are available as season rewards. Yep. When I go to season rewards, I don't see them. Really? Maybe just don't recognize them. This is a feat. It's the green-backed cards. Feats are green-backed cards. Because when you unlock, you wouldn't know this. If you unlock a lot of gold chests, sometimes you get feats. You know it's a feat because it's a green version of Iris on the back of the card. But it's also, they're going to look like this. So they're all three here. So far, there's been one on every page. Yeah. So they're there. Tree tank. Oh, sounds like my house. Sorry. Coming back after a year hiatus. Welcome back. The first thing I'm going to say before I even read the rest of this is check your emails, because if you had signed up for the newsletter before you left and then didn't delete them for the last year, all those codes are still good. Go get that. Go get that stuff. Can you point me in the direction of some resources to get caught up and refresh my memory of game mechanics? I got a new player guide for that. That's probably the best thing. I had all champions collected when I stopped playing around the end of season 1. Yeah, I mean, you can see if my new player guide, if there's anything in there. There probably isn't. You probably had everything done there, but that's usually where we tell people to check when they've been away for a while, because it reminds them of the things. But there's also a link to my guide page for just general resources and guides to refresh your memory on how the different systems work. But nobody really outkeeps hey, if you've been gone for a year, here's what you need to know type of post. You can look up the man. It used to be real easy. I just redid my champion guide list, so it's alphabetical, which super more functional for people. But it does mean I can't go easily tell you what champions came out in the last year anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's really just, look for good champions that are out. People will tell you that, like, the absolute adversaries have come into the game as a group. They're going to be solid. Lots of people changed over the seasons. Almost all of them got better. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of impossible to keep up some kind of a post like that. Because there's no way to know how long people have been gone. Anvil Fireforge, are the segmented health, armored health abilities of champions stacking? Yes. And it's my understanding they stack multiplicatively. Freeman, is there any way to automate the milestone quest for Shaco's Celestial Puzzle? No. I mean, you could get lucky. But it is a manual play thing. I have heard a rumor that if you set it up and you match 4 slots, and then you either put the party in the background, like play a different party, or close your client, that it will continue giving you credit even through resets as if it was still matching those 4. I have not tried to verify this because I'm just not going to do it. That's how I object. This is my conscientious objector stance when I'm playing games like this. Is if there's something that I just object to, I just don't participate in it. and I'm not going to participate in that milestone quest. Valesian, how worth it is it to accumulate Celestial Puzzle versus picking the best champions or placements? It depends. Look, there are some champions in this game that are incredibly strong, and swapping someone else in just to pick up a puzzle slot isn't worth it. Only you're going to know, because everyone's account is unique. No two accounts are alike unless you're playing gearless, the gearless challenge, where you just don't get gear at all. So you just have to build a formation and see. That's why I said Shaka's very manual play. So I really can't answer that question. I really can't. T5 Cats, did Nahani's gold find get better or worse? Well, I mean, with the spec choice, it's better, but it's better overall because there was no reason to pick it before. If I'm being honest, the best spec choice before was to go gold and give her an AoE because she had no wave clear. She had none. So I never picked gold find for her. There was no reason to. Now you just get it. Now you just get some. Do I wish it upgraded? Yeah, because it's not very big. Triple gold find is, meh. But it's better than nothing. When you're a new player, you want it because you need the gold, and picking the spec makes it even better. So you would do it. But Gordis, are Dahani's paint sticky? They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. It should be just the way it worked before. Is if you pull Dahani out, you lose all of her paint. Rob Ironwolf, you said soft cap a couple of times. Yeah, and told us to go gold find when it comes to Dahani. Yeah. What do you actually mean by soft cap? I saw a bunch of people answer this. But like I said when I was saying it, if you don't know what I mean, you just choose the gold find boost. So when it comes to Dahani, that's what we're talking about. But for soft cap in general, it's this circle with a line through it down here at the bottom. If you see where my upgraded champions are, like Briv says, hey, I've got an upgrade available, but everybody else says, no, we're done. They're literally at their finale. They cannot upgrade anymore. I've upgraded them. I'm showing upcoming, and there's no more upcoming. So they are at the highest level they can be. They can get an upgraded ability. Now you can unlock it, and I can level them up past that and keep going, which is how you get your 4th feat slot. But it doesn't significantly improve them at all. You would only ever really want to do that in a normal situation. You would only ever really want to do that to your primary DPS. There are some reasons why you would want to continue over leveling champions. There are some champions who have abilities that want you to do that. In this season, like leveling up your rivals gets you one of your quests done, right? So over level, but this only matters if you have tons of gold. I have tons of gold, so I could take them well over their cap, right? But for the most part, as a player, you want to just keep it on the double up arrows. Yeah. Regis 2K, have you had a chance to look at Shaka's golden item? Is it worth keeping? I mean, that's a you choice. Feast or famine? Oh, geez. No. Unless they change that ability. And for people wondering what that means is there are people who will level all the way up to 60 before there's a dismantle event going on. They'll level all the way up to 60 before the dismantle is over, and they'll get that golden on Shaka, and then they'll dismantle and they get a golden potion instead, and they'll put that potion on some other champion. Just so you're aware, all of the rivals that are featured in the season get a full dismantle, which means you can pull everything off them. Any paid feats, all of their item levels, all of their gilding, Their rarity stays at whatever the highest rarity is you have, but you can pull it all off if you don't like the changes, and you can put it somewhere else. And other champions get a legendary dismantle, which just means you can pull their legendary effects off of them and put them somewhere else. So some people will do that with these reward goldens. And yeah, Shaka's isn't. Unless they change that ability at some point. Like I said, it got nerfed into the ground. Mirage-Bach, are they done offering full dismantle for season champs? No, I just showed them to you. I was waiting for that on a couple of season 6 champions. It happens at the start of the season, Mirage-Bach. The very start of the season, right now, you get 3 weeks. You get 3 weeks where you can full dismantle, and then it's done. Yeah. Not related to the current season, Gliding Secret. What is meant by full dismantle as opposed to legendary? I think I just covered that. Legendary is just going to pull off legendary potions. It pulls a legendary effects off and gives you legendary potions based off the level of the effect. Whereas a full dismantle removes everything off the champion except for the whatever rarity of item they have. But it'll pull all the item levels off. It'll pull everything. It zeroes them out effectively. What else we got? The Black Death. I'm going to go back and hit the more general questions. I hit some general ones on the way because I started reading them before I read them. I started reading them out loud before I read them to myself. The Black Death. I've been collecting characters and ready to split the party. Nice. I found your guide, but should I be worried seeing the deadly difficulty on the campaign select screen? No. As long as you read my guide and you understand what's going on, then you're fine. The difficulty ratings in this game are solely based off favor that you have in the campaign the adventure is in. Split the Party exists outside of all campaigns, and you can't get favor for it, so it's always going to show as deadly. Doesn't mean you can't do it. Just means it's going to be a challenge, and you have to understand the restriction, and you have to play it a certain way. And that's what my guide's for. So if you don't want to mess with it, there's just a walkthrough at the bottom of the guide. T5 Cats, does Azaka have a song yet? I wrote one. No, not a Bardic Inspiration one. Loopy79, I saw you remove all familiars at once, I think. What is the keyboard shortcut for doing that? So if you hold F, F is for placing and removing familiars. You can place them wherever there's a white box. And if you want to remove them all, you click the red box, it says hide all familiars. Rob Ironwolf, have you done a favorite champion for each seat video? No, I don't do that kind of stuff. That's basically a tier list. There's people, that's the start of a tier list. There's people in the community that do that kind of stuff. I don't like anything related to that. I have favorite champions in each seat? Yes. Do I know which ones are the strongest currently? Yes. But I also recognize that every champion has a use case scenario, and sometimes the strongest aren't available, and you need to understand what they all do and where they're all the best. And those kinds of things don't necessarily always take that into account. But I can tell you, like, hey, if you're working towards split the party, and you ask me, like, which champion do I need? Well, like they said, slot 7. Who do I want to pick up in slot 7? I'm going to get Gosrick. I already got Minsk. What do I get after that? I'm going to say Caddy Bree. And why do I say Caddy Bree? Because she's a fantastic support and DPS champion. You can use her either way. So that means she's flexible. And there's no speed champion in this slot. So I know Minsk is there. But there's no speed champion in this slot. So I don't have to recommend telling people, or if you want a speed champion. But usually I would say, hey, like slot 6. Who should I get in slot 6? Well, if you want a speed champion, you get Shandy. And if you want a pushing champion, you get Krull. Like those are, there's there's best in slots for different reasons. Want a champion that's going to help you get patron challenges finished faster? Fen. Like there's, it just depends on what people need, right? Anvil Fireforge, not a question. Not sure if you're aware or not, but 3 of your events on the guide post are not links. Oh, it's because they're the upcoming ones and I haven't made guides for them yet. The links were new things that I was adding as specific event guides, and it's one of the ways I was that was going to allow me to change the formatting of my guide pages, like the wiki, so that you can just have an alphabetized champion list to find them easier, while still having access to event guides. They'll show up. Yeah, once the events roll around, they'll show up. I'll make one. And then every time a new event rolls around, I'll link the newest version of it. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to because I think I named them based off the year. So the next time it comes around, I will just name them generically, and then I will just update them every year. Vovcast, what's the idea auto resetting at 49 and not 45 or 50? So this was where my background parties. The idea here is usually the Area 50 boss is the pain. Not always. But in most places, the Area 50 boss is the one you just don't want to deal with. And the one that could potentially cause problems for, background idling. So I set it at 49 because it gets me as much of killing of enemies as possible without having to deal with Area 50. It's mainly because a lot of the time, I don't think it matters on Mad Wizard, but when I need to do undead, I tend to go to like Vecna Lives, and the Area 50 one there will stop me. It stops my background progress. So I fixed that by just going to 49 because I'm using, just a couple people and just wrecks it. So I set them at 49. You don't have to do that. It's just me being, I try to pay attention to what causes my background parties to stall out. And then I set them up so that they don't stall out. That's why I don't ever just put familiars in there. I've got champions instead. Little things like that. And also lately, because I have a lot of familiars, I will place a familiar on the auto progress button. So just in case it stops for apparently no reason that I can tell, it'll start again. When the game unfreezes, there we go. Okay. I want to point out that you can actually see Dahani's paint stacks real clearly now. And they will mark in different directions on the enemies. It's kind of neat. I don't know if that was there before. I'll be honest, I didn't use Dahani that much before. There, it locked up again. Yay. I don't know what's going on. This only started with the last patch, like the season. But it's a problem. Lightning Hawk. Free time gate choices. My only real choice is Vlanya. Never really used her. Is she worth getting better gear for? Nope. What is she good at for? Sitting on the bench. Sitting on the bench. What amount of questions? We got through them, folks. We got through them. If you have more, throw them at me. Looks like a nice memory link. I have been crashing too, so quite possibly. I just don't know what it's related to. Someone mentioned it might be Dahani's painting, but I haven't linked it to that. I haven't seen it like, oh, I painted something and it lagged out. That hasn't been what I've seen, so I don't like now. It lagged out. Nothing was going on. I don't understand. You put a familiar on auto progress since when? Since a while back. See, look, it's pretty great. And watch, I'll click back. I'll click back. Backs up, And then the auto familiar, and the familiar is like, no, we're progressing, and you progress. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Loopy, I don't agree, but if that's what you want to do, you go right ahead. I don't ever. So even when I did Azaka farming, and I've kind of moved away from it, which is ironic because I was going to make a guide for it this year. I moved away from Azaka farming, but even when I did it, I never farmed the boss. The farming the boss can be, I always removed everyone but the boss. I moved the boss and all but one other people. So I don't know. Bologna was never somebody I ever used for that. Question: are you going to do this season? I did it. I just covered the whole thing. I just talked about everything. I'm already up to level 28. The only thing I'm not going to do is this. This is probably going to stay tier 1 unless it gets some random... Unless I randomly match Celestial Puzzle somehow. That's going to stay at tier 1. I'm not doing anything with this one. But the rest of the stuff, sure. And there'll still be more than enough experience, especially based off, the bonus quests, for me to get to 60 and beyond. So I'm not worried about it. Speaking of, who is my time gate? Who's up on my time gate? Free time gate weekend, folks. So you can hop in a time gate, and whatever they have up here offered for free, you can pick one of. Man, if I was a new player and I didn't have Celise, this would be fantastic. It's still who I'm picking because Tatiana has a ton of item levels. So does Caddy Bree. So I pick, because I have them fully geared up, I always go with, and I own all the champions. I go with whoever has the lowest item levels. So it's going to be a Celise time gate weekend for me. You get 2 guaranteed gold chests just off real straightforward adventures. Just complete Area 50 and Area 75. And then a 3rd gold chest off a variant. One of the 3 variants that come in their event. So hover over it to see the restriction and know how far you have to go. But yeah, 3 gold chests out of a natural time gate, and unlock the champion if you don't own the champion. That's one of the first rewards. Silver chests aren't really a thing. You get silver chests based off like how far you push. You can't farm them. So just understand that if you've never done that before, and all you know are events. Maelstrom, is there any talk about revamping the tiers of level completion quests? I mean, I talk about it all the time in the sense that I want them removed from the game, and something that's less lazy put in. But I haven't heard anything out of the devs about it. Yeah, I want them gone. But I'm not a developer, so. Peter D-Pan, and he already tested Celise and Narak, and how good are they working together since the Narak nerf? So there's something for long-standing players. Celise, there used to be this shenanigan that I called the Great Wall. I think some people refer to it as that. I just picked up the name and I liked it. Where you could combine Narak with Celise, and either in her wall or her deflect stance, which now doesn't exist. And with Narak would buff her to over 100% damage reduction. So she would take no damage from either melee attacks or ranged attacks. You had to pick one. Now Wall has both ranged and melee. However, Narak got nerfed last season. So even with a maxed out Narak currently, the highest you can get is 75% damage reduction. That's still significant. So, and because it does both at once, it really makes wall stance kind of the go-to in my opinion, for running like a pushing Celise. Because she's going to be able to, if you have Narak with her, she'll be able to reduce all incoming damage, because ranged usually counts magic as well. But we'll see. I haven't tested it in the new version. By 75%. Still a solid reduction. But you can't make her invincible, which you could do before. That was broken. I don't think that'll ever come back. I would like, we're still waiting. We're still waiting. It's a new season, and we're still waiting to see if they'll unnerf the accidental nerfs to Narak and Zorbu. And that was one of the accidental nerfs to Narak. So yeah, we're just gonna have to kind of wait and see. All right, folks, that's gonna be everything. This is the last stream on the CNA Games channel for the week. They will return on Tuesday, is my recollection. I'm trying to remember their schedule next week. Tuesday, yes. There should be, barring illnesses, there should be streams on Tuesday. However, if you like hanging out with me, I'm charming. Come over to my channel, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. Here, I'll put my name in chat. You can click on me and hit follow. In about an hour or so, I'm going to be streaming over on my channel. Today we're starting a game that was gifted to me, Disco Elysium. It's been out a little while, but I never got to play it, so we're going to start through. We just finished a Dark Urge playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I play Idle Champions, and I make guides for the game. That's where you might know my name. I got over 100. I have at least 160 guides for the game now. It's a wild number that you can find over on the subreddit. And this year, new guides. I'm making new guides. I just put a Gem Farming 101 guide up for people who don't know what that is. Now there's a guide for that. So more new guides on the way this year. All right, I'm out. I'm gonna go get lunch. Man, what am I gonna eat? I don't know. Anyway, song on the way out is "I Love Waterdeep," a song for Waterdeep. Bye, everybody.
That you cast, I look out to see 1,000 swaying masts. Glancing up, I see the griffins flying by. You know the city's safe by land, sea, and sky. Water deep, city that never sleeps. Water deep, the crown of the north. Ancient streets and see what we've adorned. But this antique city hides beneath centuries of history buried deep. There's a port of skulls westwards towards the sea, a lawless outpost run by thugs and thieves. Underneath it all, the mad maids plenty schemes in a labyrinth of death. Opportunity